created to reign. What does that mean? You are royalty. You were created to win. There's a definition that says to wear a crown.
From your beginning to your end, you were created to reign. It's time to own your royalty, 'cause you are the essence of queen. Oh, that's to me now. If I want it, I'm gon' get it. I make it rain, I make it rain. If I want it, I'm gon' get it. I make it rain, oh, I make it rain.
I was created to reign. Here's what happened. Now, when she shines, I don't have to fool with it. I don't have to worry about it. I can celebrate with her because I was created to reign. She was created to reign. We can rock together. We can rock our royalty together. I know who I am.
If I want it, I'm gon' get it. I make it rain, I make it rain. Oh, if I want it, I'm gon' get it. I make it rain, I make it rain.
Yes, we are back. We are back. We are back, Jim. We are back. It is another episode of Standing in the Rain. I am your host, the Rainmaker herself, Dawn Roseman. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be with y'all. I'm so glad you're back with me, that you're vibing with me, that you logged on, that you subscribed, that you continue to support. What do I want to call this? The takeover. I'm coming after you. I'm coming after the greatness that's hardwired into your DNA. Yes, another episode. So, I say this all the time, and I'm going to say it again. I'm so excited about my guest today. He is amazing. They're all amazing. Amazing. You hear me? Amazing. It's going to be so awesome. It's going to be so fun. You're going to have such a good time hanging in there with us. So Standing in the Rain, for those of you who are new to me, new to Rain, I don't know where you've been, right? Where have you been? But if you're new to Standing in the Rain, check this out. So reign means to overcome, to dominate, to superabound, to win, to sway, the essence of win, to sway, to have influence, your royalty, to wear a crown, which is my absolute favorite. I'm talking about you. Reign is you. So we are today, every day we come to the mic for Standing in the Rain. We are talking about things that hopefully elevate you and dig a little deeper and pointing you to your greatness. And I bring guests to you, people in my tribe, people in my network, people, quite frankly, who I think are just doing it big and they're just amazing, and they really are rocking their royalty. And I just love it when you get to know who I know, that I get to introduce you to excellence. So today is no different. My gosh. You excited?
Yes, I am.
They don't even know who you are. I'm about to tell them who you are, though. It's so exciting. So I have with me the most prolific, the most amazing, he's just absolutely incomparable, the unmatched Caanan White. Yes, give it up. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Oh my gosh, you have no idea what you're in for. I love rocking with ours. What's up?
Chilling, man.
This is family right here.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah.
This is family. Caanan White is family. He is the most amazing professional comic illustrator.
Yep.
Are you like the president, the grand poobah, and everything of Deviant art? Too, and all we just
I wish.
Yeah, it's just so amazing everything that you do. We're gonna jump into it, and I just so for your sake, thank you for being a guest today on Standing in the Rain. So for your sake, I always have a drop of the day, a raindrop of the day. Good. I want to make sure that we vibe around something and people get to know you, and we'll just take that up. And so I was thinking about you. I've known you for so long, but just different facets of you. Yet I feel like sometimes. Well, that's true with everybody. I don't know you at all, so I at the same time, right? I want to pull it out.
Yeah,
There's so much. We just just so much to you. And so I was thinking about what would be the right drop to capture Caanan. And I was like, man, I was looking up, and I was like, and this is what I came up with. In this, and you have to vibe with me. The word deviant means departing from the norm. Mm. The antonyms tell you more about what the word means than anything, because the antonyms are, and I wrote it down, they're normal, regular, same. That's the opposite of the word deviant. I know we hear it in other contexts, but it means departure from the norm. So I think, having known this dude for a long time in a lot of different facets, that we're going to vibe around. The drop for y'all for today is embrace deviant behavior. Yes. I mean, it just, I know I'm gonna capture back that word. You're gonna understand. Embrace deviant behavior. Embrace something that departs from the norm.
Yeah.
Man.
Yep.
So, hi.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
I am wonderful now. I'm wonderful and wonderfuler.
Yeah.
Now I get to sit down with my brother. So let me give you a little bit of backdrop. So Caanan and I, how far we go back?
Oh man, what?
I'm trying to think about that. I was trying to think about that.
2000? Yeah, because I think
Has
I
it
met you maybe.
It was before that. I came home from law school in 1996. And I came to the
after,
so we I met Caanan at church. Just why? So I come to this church, this Summit. Shout out to Summit Church, and I go to the church, and there's this guy on stage.
With the mohawk.
And no, you didn't have a mohawk then. You know mohawk
okay.
then. But it was a guy on stage. I mean, I didn't understand it anyway because the music was like, it was like I just walked into a club. I was like, what is going on up here? And they called themselves the Posse.
Yep.
And I was like, this is weird. I came to church. What's happening?
Yep.
And I go there and I loved it, but I didn't. I mean, it's like funny because I was drawn to the word and to Pastor Al. Shout out to Pastor Al. I was drawn to the word, but there was this guy, Caanan. I didn't know him then. I was sitting in the back and I'm watching him, and my gosh, he wouldn't stop moving. Whether there's music or not, he wouldn't stop moving. And then when there was music, I was like, this dude, do they do drug testing in the church?
That's awesome.
They should do drug testing because this dude is on something, because I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I really had. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anybody.
Freedom.
Yeah, man. I just had never seen anybody worship like that, jump around like that. I didn't even know to call it worship. It was so foreign to me. And I just was like, what is that? And so I would watch you and I would marvel at it, but I was like, this can't be real. I used to say that. I don't know if I ever told you. I was like, no, this can't be real. So talk to me about that, because I'll explain, because there's a story, but I want to take you guys somewhere. Remember, we're talking about embrace deviant behavior. So like, you were how old then? I mean, we're talking about 1990.
So I was probably, 96, 97. So I was probably maybe, 20?
What is that about?
18,
Where does that kind of fire come from at 20 years old? I mean, you were literally, this mug is like almost smash dancing. I mean, if you could trust church people to catch you, he would have jumped off the stage, but them mugs will let you fall. I mean, they don't do it. They will let you hit the ground. Yeah. But go ahead. But where's that come from?
It was just really liberty. I can remember prior to that, when I was younger, I'm just, being a person who, loved to worship and loved to sing and things like that. Something, I think it was probably in a church service or something, but whoever was teaching was like stand up and just worship God like nobody's watching. And I remember I was sitting with the rest of, because I was with the youth at that time. So it was me and a couple other people there. They're all my age now. But, at the time, man, I just jumped up and started dancing and started worshiping, man. And they were laughing and I didn't care. You didn't care? No.
Embrace deviant behavior. You didn't, seriously, you didn't have that language, but you didn't care at 20.
Nope. And this was before. This was before 20. That. This is like 15, 16 years old. So, and then I remember I went to this camp. It was called Impact at the time. And that was, I think, the only year that I was ever an actual camp attendee, because every year after that I was a dorm captain.
Okay.
And so it was this album, I can't remember what it was Worship in the House or Praise in the House, and I think the person on the album was Keith Stanton, and he used to be with this group called Commission, and so he kind of went on his own and started becoming a worship leader. But that album, man, like, it spoke to me just about worshiping like with abandon, without any limitations. And so from that point on, I really didn't care.
You really didn't?
I really didn't care.
Showed.
Like what, people thought, and then the more I started to do it, the more God started to share with me. Like, one thing he always said to me, I think I shared it with you, and a couple other members, of our, posse at the time. it's easy to sing to the flesh, but singing to the heart is a whole different dynamic.
I wish you could, and we're gonna get into so many things. I mean, but just I wish I could understand like you're gonna understand more than anything when this is done. Why I wanted you to know Caanan. Why you need to know Caanan. He's an artist. He is anointed to create from his hands and the things he creates, and we'll talk about that. But he's an artist. Otherwise, he's a worshiper. He's a singer. I mean, I just want you guys to understand, like, you know, and we'll talk about it. Like Caanan is an amazing artist. I mean, he's gifted to create with his hands. I mean, we're going to talk about that in a moment. Y'all, I mean, it's just fire stuff. But he's a gifted, I don't know what to call it, worshiper, but singer is too limited to me. It's different. A lot of people sing. You know, I remember when I would see you, right? So you said, like, it just trips me out that you're like that young and you didn't care. Because I remember I used to see you and I couldn't figure out why I would like be crying. You know, and I just was tripped out about it. But I just tripped. I mean, so the fact that you just didn't care. So was there something that you know, you said you were talking about, you went to camp and then you heard that song from Commission, and it just something broke off, and you. So it was just you remember that moment, like it was a shift for you.
It was just like a freedom, man, of just like I wanted to know God, man, like beyond just like the surface, man. And like I wanted, you know, not to get like real cosmic and out, but for me, I was like I wanted to like get. Israel talks about in one of his songs, man, he's like heaven kissed the earth, and that always still with me. Like that is as a person who worships, that is my job.
Yeah.
To peel back the curtain, man, of reality, so that people can actually experience what it's like being in front of God right now. You know, not even just like a feeling, but actually experience, like, you know, when we worship God and when we lift our hands, and, you know, I remember somebody said it can be thousands of people all around and all God sees is you. And that's with anybody. And so being able to take somebody on that type of journey, there's a scripture in the Bible where it talks about where, you know, I think it's John, and he's on an island, and he's, you know, about to experience this crazy revelation, and it says the heavens opened, and it was like a door that opened up into heaven, and the voice came down and was like, come up here and I'll show you what must take place after this. And like stuff like that, like always resonated with me. And so being able to, that as a worship leader, that's always been my mindset when ushering in, you know, bringing the people and showing them how to worship. The way you learn to worship is to worship.
Yeah.
You can learn it in the classroom and all this, that, and the other, man, but it's like anything. The way you learn to swim is get in the water.
Yeah.
Same thing with praying and worshiping, man. The way you worship God, you got to get out there, just do it.
So what's awesome, I mean, this is such a joy for me to have Caanan here and to sit down with me. He's been such a critical and pivotal part of my life's journey. Caanan taught me how to worship. I've told you that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I just literally, so fast forward. So I come home in 96 from law school, and I'm looking to find a church home because I'd not gone to the church I grew up in, and I was trying to figure that out. Found Summit, you know, thought it was, you know, just found Summit and found a good fit. But the music ministry was weird to me, and it was because it was nothing that I was used to.
Yeah.
It was just really, it was like I said, it felt like club-like. It was like, why are they so like running around? Why aren't they wearing robes? What's going on, right? You know, they ain't coming down the center aisle. You know, it's all that stuff. So it was weird for me. And then, you know, somehow, having never sang in anybody's choir for any reason whatsoever, I found myself responding to the there was like a flyer or something out like auditions for the posse today.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And I to this day, I know it was God, but to this day, like, I remember thinking, like, you know, like you watch yourself doing something and you like, I am opening the door, right? And I tried out, and I went in there, and I'm like, I want to try out for the, I think I probably said it like that, like, I want to try out for the posse.
Yeah.
They're like, Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it was, but I found myself doing this and you know, tried out. I don't know if there was ever anybody that was going to get kicked out or anything like that, but I tried out and joined the posse. But I remember just watching you.
Yeah.
And I mean, you say it like that's, you know, I know who you, let me back up. We're talking about, you know, the drop for the day is embrace deviant behavior. Deviant meaning not normal.
Yeah.
Moving away from from the norm. Stop being regular. If we want to, you know, make it real plain. How did you always know you could sing?
Not like I ended up singing. No, you know, when I'm younger, you know, you're younger, mom, you know, my mom would play, she had a piano, so me and my brother would, because he also plays instruments and, you know, sang as well. But, you know, we would just kind of like play around and stuff. But honestly, it wasn't until probably high school, late high school, where I actually, maybe I say my sophomore, maybe junior year, actually started like singing. But I didn't learn how to sing.
What's that mean?
Like I guess you want to say concert level.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like where it was actually like, oh my God, like you're a singer. Until probably late high school, almost post high school.
Okay.
But you know, it was one of those things that, you know, you just kind of like, it kind of like turned on, you know. It was like, you know, I wish you know, you always like, well, say there was this moment that happened, but it just sometimes it's just like sometimes stuff is like time release, man. It's just like something happens and then it leads to something else, and all of a sudden it's like, there it is, you know. There's the ability. Same thing with art, same way.
Really?
You know, I used to have my brother draw me everything because I didn't know how, and
Really?
It's
I did not know that about you. I thought you like came out of the womb like, can I have a crayon? You know, like something like that. I didn't know what you were doing.
My art was trash. I own it, but it was. I mean, it just, and to the credit of, you know, and I know it was like you said, it was the Lord placing people in my life. I say now, I will say for art was a little different. I'll say it was probably my 5th grade teacher that kind of like cracked open the passion to create. His name was Mr. Marino, and he was a teacher at Harrison Hill at the time. Okay. And he was different. He was a different teacher, man, because he had a piano in the room and he would play while we would work.
Really?
You know, and I remember he was playing. Cool. He's playing "That's What Friends Are For," and he just play. He just playing. Yeah, he would just be playing it, you know, while we're in there. And so, you know, already kind of had a passion to draw, but it like took it to another level when I figured out he was also an artist. Okay. And he actually showed me some of his artwork.
Like an artist, like not just a music artist.
Yeah, just not just music. Okay. But yeah, he penciled and, you know, painted and all that stuff. And so he showed me some of his stuff. I was like, man. And so he was like, he said, if you do your work, because I was having little challenges with school and stuff. He said, if you do your work and you do it right, don't halfway do it. Don't cut any corners. He said, I'll let you have a whole wall and you can draw to your heart's content, but you got to do your work. If you don't do it, then you can't. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that. And so I did it, and he was hard on me. He wasn't like, just, you know, he was, you know, but he was like, because he knew my mom and dad and they were involved, and he was like, your son is talented, but he's just not turning in his work or whatever. And he's like, he draws all the time.
You just wanted to draw. Yeah. Okay.
Flip the paper over, draw on the back, draw on the margins, draw everywhere.
Son, you got an F.
Yeah.
But look at my man.
Right. And so, you know, it was one of them things where it was just like, it was always there, but he knew how to take that information, that passion, and really kind of like, you know, he started, like, I guess you want to crack the reservoir.
I got you.
Yeah. And so from him, you know, my, you know, high school teacher, who I'd come to find out was a former player under my dad who coached.
Okay.
And so his name was Terry Burton. Awesome to this day. He's like my surrogate dad. But he allowed me to do me.
What do you mean?
Even when we had specific assignments in school, I was like, can I draw comic stuff? He's like, yeah. And so me and a couple of friends of mine to this day, you know, one of my friends, you know, we still, you know, he hasn't done much art, but you know, he's other than my mom and my dad and my brother, he is probably like my number one. You know, he's like my dude. Awesome. He's always been there. He's like, dude, you should be at Marvel. And he's always to this day. It's like, you're amazing. You know, so you know, we kind of taught him how to draw some stuff.
What's his name?
Kurt Combs.
Curtis Combs, you were right. He is amazing. Go ahead. Yeah.
But Mr. Burton, you know, he allowed us to really, and not just me, but everybody in that class, man. We were kind of a band of misfits, man. You had the preacher's kid, you had the thug, you had the, you know, the honorary prep kid, you had the hippie folk, and we were like a huge family. And to the point where, like, the end of our senior year, like, everybody like cried, man, like, because we were like, you guys are like family, and he knew how to let us be us.
Yeah.
And
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just saying that's who I encountered. So, you know, when I joined, I joined the music ministry. I mean, I'm glad you gave that backdrop, because that's the person I encountered. That's why this drop was so fitting. I mean, and they're just mini drops throughout that. I mean, it matters. I mean, you know, that you embrace you.
Yeah.
I've gotten that from you from day one. I mean, you know, you just have always been, and I love it. I really mean this is the best compliment in the world. You've always been a square peg.
Yeah.
And I love that about you. And you know, I you know, what's funny about it when I talk about rain, you know, rain means to overcome, to dominate, to superabound, to win, the essence of win, to sway, to have influence. It means it is by definition, standing in the rain, you're not regular.
Yeah.
But I forgot that. So I used to be a square peg, and then I worked real hard in the middle. And the middle was a long middle. But I worked real hard to round out them edges.
Well, a lot of times,
you know what I mean?
people do that is because societal mindsets kind of, not so much now, but then, you know, this is what you're supposed to do,
right?
And this is how it's supposed to be. And if it's deviate, you always had those people that was a little odd, and they would be called eccentric, or they would be called, you know, ostracized or whatever. And so, but to me, those are the people that made the biggest impact. Yeah. They never, you talk about standing in the rain. They didn't go back and get the umbrella.
That's right.
They just walked in the rain.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? Because I want to.
Because I want to. Yeah. And so when I joined, when I say, what does that mean? Like when I said, you taught me how to worship, I came in, I mean, I grew up in church, but I never really, quite frankly, I never really liked church. I never really liked church people.
Yeah.
I realize now what I've been saying all those years is I didn't like religion.
Yeah.
I still don't. I hate religion. And so I was just like, but I was drawn to this, to Summit, and I was drawn to this music ministry. And I'm in there, and I never sang in any sort of organized fashion, let alone, other than with my, one time, other than I sang with my sorority sisters, in college. Shout out to Delta Sigma Theta. I do it every time. I'm not going to stop. You see it. I mean, so anyway, but I'd never really done that. So I get there and we go to rehearsal and I'm watching you and I just don't understand, but I remember longing. I kept saying to myself all the time, like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
But by that, I didn't mean like, I didn't want to be you.
Yeah.
I don't sing like you. I can't. But I wanted that freedom.
Yeah.
To not be concerned about. I never felt like you were concerned about what it sounded like. It always sounded amazing. But I always felt like you're like, I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
And was that right? I mean, am I crazy? Because that's what it looked like. It looked like you were just like,
yeah.
It was like Caanan and the Caanettes. Not in a bad way. It's just like, how do we keep up with that in a beautiful way?
Yeah. It was, I mean, it just, I never, I guess I want to say if there was somebody that kind of patterned things off of her, you know, of course my mom and dad, because they were worshipers, and to this day, you know my dad.
Yeah,
he's
my
relentless.
He's my dad too.
Yeah.
I took him.
But he's fierce. He's fierce.
Yeah.
And my mom is the same way.
Yeah.
You know, my mom has always talk about, she has a 911 direct call patched to God himself. When she prays, she prays.
Yeah.
And things happen.
Yeah.
You know, and it's still that way. And so, but somebody else that actually influenced me was, her name is Paula Crooms. And she is, well, and she still ministers now, but she was the first person I saw that flowed. Like, I remember, she just had somebody come and start playing. She just start playing this note or whatever it was, these keys, whatever. And she just started singing. And just words just started flowing. It's just, and I was just like, what is this? I'm like, I've never heard that song before. And it was a new song. It was something like right out of her heart, man. And it always like blew my mind. I was like, I want to learn to do that. Yeah. Show me the power of the force. Kind of thing.
I was like, yeah, I know. That's how I used to be. I was like, how does he do that? Yeah. And I'd get up there. If you didn't tell me what to sing at the time, I'd be like, I wouldn't say nothing. Yeah. Like, go and say, yeah. I'd be like, yeah.
And even when the words didn't come, or the right words, I didn't care, man. Because it was, I guess, it was bigger than me. Like, I understood that was bigger than me. Like, what I'm doing is not from my own feel good. I'm trying to get to the person, man, that, like I said, singing to the hearts of men versus to the outside of who they are. When you sing into the heart, man, you're singing to what's on the inside of that person, man. Their dreams, their ideas, the hurts, the pains, the worries, the fears, the concerns, the confusion, the want, the desire to know God, even if they don't know, they want to know. All those different things, I don't know that, but God knows. And as a person who worships, and this is whether it's music or art, whatever, I'm a mouthpiece.
Yeah, so I want you to define that, and that's I'm glad it's a good segue because worship. We've been using this word, and I don't unless somebody get lost in this. Yeah. I don't want them to get lost in like this some sort of churchy word. It's not because you said whether it's worship, whether it's singing or art. Yeah. For me, whether you're a construction worker or an accountant or a lawyer or whatever, how you do that is that too can be worship. Yep. Define it for, just the way you see it. How would you define it?
Creating an atmosphere. And like I said, not trying to get, spiritual, but creating an atmosphere for God to be able to do what he wants to do.
Yeah. I love that.
Anybody.
Say that again.
Created an atmosphere for God to be able to do what he wants to do. Yeah. In anybody. And like one of the biggest worshipers I know, and shout out to him, is other than my mom and dad, is Wes Jackson. Yeah. Yeah, he sings, but that's not his everyday. When I see him worship is in his day to day. Yeah. The way he handles people, the way he talks to people. Yeah. Larry White is another individual. Okay. Individuals. You guys. Mark. One of the people that used to be at Summit. Bill. Yeah. Being and serving. Being there and serving. Yeah, making room. The fact that something wasn't out of place is because he put it where it was needed. So worship is setting an atmosphere, man, and it's crucial because one of the things I learned, and albeit the hard way, you can't be a worshiper only publicly. That's good. It has to be something that you do every day. Yeah. And I've had instances where individual told me like you can lead millions, but you can't lead your own house, and that always resonated. Yeah. Like you gotta be able to be that. When I say all the time, you're always on. It's not like you're always like living in the clouds, but you're always cognitive that you're an atmosphere. Like my mom would say, you're atmosphere control. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so when I say rain means to sway. Yep. To have influence. Yep. When you walk into a room, I love that. I mean, because anybody can perform on a stage. Because quite frankly, worship is not singing. It's not just singing like what we just said. So but to sway, to have influence, you cause people. It's like a magnet, like right. You pull them to you. Yep. Yep. Good or bad. Good or bad. You pull them to you. That's your rightful positioning. Because on that same token, you can be a worshiper for the negative. Because you can bring the wrong atmosphere. Yeah. You can bring the wrong vibe to something and completely change.
Yeah.
Case in point. Everybody knows what Hitler did.
Yeah.
But he had an air about him. He had a weightiness and a vibe, albeit negative, that convinced a lot of people that his mindset and his ideology was correct.
I took one of those, what do you call those things? Those personality profile things, where they give you a bunch of letters and tell you what you are, or whatever. And I took mine, and it said like you have. Basically, it was something like you're like a Pied Piper of sorts, Dawn. Whatever score number letters were, and that people will shift to your words or whatever. Then it said this thing. It says you must be careful how you wield them. It said a whole bunch of other stuff about me. I showed it to my husband. He told me that it said I was we said words. This is a family show. I'm not going to repeat what he said about me about that. But but it was just funny to me because what you're saying is that that it matters. I mean, that like you said, that's a good word. That weightiness. Yeah. It matters. And that's what I always got from you, that, more than anything I got. And when I say you taught me how to worship, that's what I mean. Yeah. You didn't teach me how to sing. Yeah. I like I said, I can't sing like you. I'm not trying to sing like you, but you taught me about how to show up.
And one of the biggest things to being an effective worshiper within whatever you do, and this is one of the reasons why it was so effective, is understanding people. When you understand the heart of somebody, they're not just a body in the seat. Yeah. They're not just somebody. That person has needs, they have desires, they have feelings, they got things they're going through. And honestly, man, if your focus isn't trying to help people be better,
get off the stage.
Get off the stage.
Get off the stage, literally and figuratively.
Yes.
Get off the stage.
Because
that's the drop.
It becomes about you, man. Yeah. And you can get all and granted, there is a high that comes from being on stage and leading people. But that's when you have to be careful and understand the why you're doing it. Yeah. I remember this worship leader by the name of Darlene Check. Yeah. And I never forget, she said when she gave everything for this particular album and they recorded live, and her heart, I was just like, man. She said, after leading multiple people into the presence, she was like, Lord, I hope it was enough. And I was just like, dang, like after all of that, and you're still like, Lord, I hope I gave you everything. Yeah. And because that's what people want to see, man. Like people they don't care what you know until they know you care. And that goes into everything. And
that translates, and I want to talk to, because, there are people watching, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I believe what you believe, Caanan and Dawn. I was like, well, I'm not, keep hanging around. I'm not trying to, all I know how to do is be who I am. I can't separate the wet from the water. This is who I am. This is what I believe. But I will say this, that translates regardless. Yeah. I mean, you've got to be mindful that the people that you have the privilege of handling, it's just that, it's a privilege. Yeah. Therefore, you have a responsibility to not mishandle them. Yep. Right? Yep. So when I talk about from perspective of, you were created to reign, there's a huge responsibility. I'm not trying to, that's not t-shirts. It's not hype. Yeah. There's a really huge responsibility on you to make sure that, in one of the chapters in my book, Boss Presence, is be kind. And I told people when I was just at a Boss Presence Challenge, I was like, that's probably the chapter. I could write a whole book about that alone of so many, because that's the thing that seems to be a lost art. Yeah. Right? Yeah. You mishandle people, and then people you wonder, I think we get back to the church and things of God. It's like, hey, I wonder why people don't come to church or won't believe what you believe, because you mistreated them. You treat them like trash. And then you never have like a cross around your neck or a Jesus fish. Yeah. They be like, take that Jesus fish off, because you were mean.
You got to protect people, man. And like I said, I've learned a lot of lessons, personally and publicly, sometimes the hard way. Yeah. Of when you don't cover people, when you don't protect people, and as a worshiper, that is when you're atmosphere control, whether it be an artist, poet, rapper, mathematician, archaeologist, whatever it is, you are to protect your people. And when you don't, man, like that, you're talking about being, that deviant mindset and stepping out of what's normal. You can't be a normal minded person and be that type of individual that's willing to step into the fire, willing to take the first barrage of gun, of fire. You can't be a person that sits back in the cut and just be like, well, I'm gonna just wait for things. You almost have to be that person that's kind of out there. They say kind of loopy, like I'll do it.
I mean, I wish you could. I wish we had. I mean, we do have tape, but I wish you could. I mean, just appreciate what I marveled about. So when you taught me how to. When what we're talking about all this, I mean, we just never actually talked about it like this. Yeah. But this is all the stuff I saw out of you. I mean, it was just kind of like reckless abandon. You felt felt very battle like. Yep. Very, like you were just aggressive. Like, let's go. Yeah. But
it's the lion lamb.
What do you mean?
I learned that from my dad.
What do you mean?
Roar, but then also bring that comfort.
Gotcha.
Like the lamb is passive. It follows wherever the shepherd goes. The lion, he goes and does what he needs to do to protect his territory. And he's vigilant with it, and he's a predator. But only God can take those two aspects and create this where you're aggressively protective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're aggressively tender. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're like, I'll fight you, but I'll put you behind me and behind my back, and I'll take all the blows. You can't be a person that just kind of sits there and is unwilling to be above normal or out of the ordinary. You can't be that type of person and be a person that's just considered everyday or average.
I love it. I want that we would be here for hours just living in this. I want to make sure that we have time to, we talk about your we have been talking about your art, but your other kind of art that you produce. But before that, I don't want to leave this moment because we haven't been together in the same room with two mics in a long time. We have to figure this out. So I've been trying to figure out what we could sing. Let me see here. So do you remember, and y'all don't get to judge me, look, okay, because, you can't, we working on something here, but, you remember, He Loves Us.
Yeah,
okay.
I do.
Did you start, He Is Jealous for Me? That's the key, right? Yeah. All right, I'm going to start.
Okay.
You play.
Okay.
Cool?
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see what happens. 1, 2. It doesn't go like that. I'm sorry. Okay, let me go. Let's see. He is jealous for me. Love's like a hurricane. I am a tree bending beneath the weight of his wind and mercy.
Whoa, all of a sudden I'm unaware of these afflictions eclipsed by glory, and I realize just how beautiful you are and how great your affections are for me.
Take it O.
And oh, how he loves us, oh, how he loves us. How he loves us, oh, he loves us, oh, how he loves us, oh, how he loves us, oh, how he loves us, oh, he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves.
Oh my gosh, I miss singing with you. Oh my gosh. It gave me chills when you started singing. I just
He is beautiful.
Yeah. Beautiful.
He is beautiful.
Beautiful.
He is beautiful.
Beautiful.
How he loves me.
How he loves us.
So.
That is just, my gosh, it brings tears to my eyes. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just have always appreciated your stance.
Yeah.
For having such a young man to stand for God, that in of itself makes you weird, deviant, embrace
Especially in this
deviant
day and
behavior,
age.
right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, what are you doing? And I'm not trying to put your business out there, but I am, because it's a testimony. Because what y'all don't know, what I loved him, because Caanan taught me so much. I mean, just taught me how to worship. He and his beautiful wife Cecily just taught me how to be a good parent in a number of ways. I used to consult them in different things, and I remember talking to you too. I mean, when you were a virgin when you got married.
Yep.
And I love that. And just before we just, I don't want to leave that. So I want people to understand, because there was just a conviction, like you said, behind the scenes. It's not just about something that you did on the stage. I mean, because I remember a friend of mine once even told me, because I'm raising boys, and I'm like, we're teaching them purity.
Yeah.
And things like that. And they're like, you can do that with girls, but you can't do that with boys. And I was like, I reject that. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know, I have a friend of mine. I reject that and whatever.
Yeah.
But just talk about that a little bit, because you got some people watching you. You got some young men watching you who are they're like, man, I'm not normal. I was like, good for you, by the way. Applaud you for that. I mean, none of us really, quite frankly, are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's something that has the road less traveled, especially like being a young adult and teenager then versus now is literally night and day. I can't even imagine. Like, there's things that my kids went through that I didn't encounter till I got to high school.
That's right.
And they already knew about it. And so, especially you mentioned my son. I'm old school, man, and again, whoever's listening, to each his own. You do what's for your family. I was taught how to raise my son, not this toxic masculinity they talk about, where it's if you don't play sports, you're not a man. If you don't do this, being a man is taking care of what matters. And I always taught my son, I was like, man,
you gotta say that again.
Being a man is taking care of what matters and what's important.
Yeah.
Work, provide for your family, be that leader, be the person that your kids can talk to. Open door policy, man. You don't want them going on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram talking to people. I'm your Instagram, I'm your Twitter. Talk to me. Whatever it is. I don't care whatever level it is. And in this day and age, man, where you need something, man, that's solid, like a foundation, and whatever that is for you, whatever you believe. For me, is Christ, is Jesus, and He is the foundation. And so that's what I build everything on. Even when I share with my kids, have I made mistakes? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Has it been all roses and pillows? No. But at the core of it all, man, that foundation that my parents share with me, my dad says, what I always, out of everything I told you, I taught you how to pray. This is like natural. If you learn how to read, you can learn anything. Yeah. If you know how to pray,
you can get through anything.
You can get through anything.
Yeah.
And so that's, I teach my son, man, like, that's what a man is. Being confident in your craft. We got family, man, that's really into sports, and so sometimes when they come together, it used to be like they would try to hey, I can do I can throw this ball, or I can do this, that, and the other. And I had to tell my son, I was like, son, they can't build like you.
Yeah.
They can't draw that. They can't create those different things. So whatever your vibe is, vibe that thing, man, and be firm in that, and stay the course.
Yeah.
Stay the course.
Yeah.
Even when it gets hard.
Yeah.
Even when seems like it's a struggle. When it's what you're supposed to do. When that that's what you were created to do, it's gonna work out.
Yeah. That's the point. I mean, embracing, again, I'm clawing back that word, because we normally hear it like deviant, bad. And it just means not regular.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm asking you to embrace it. I mean, we all have I always used to think I was weird. Turns out I was right. And I'm okay with it. I forgot that it was all right. I somehow, again, try, the world, life, things, they work really hard to smooth out them edges so you can fit in them holes.
Some of the weirdest people, I'll just tell you, most of the technology and stuff we have are made by weird and crazy people.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs was weird.
Yeah.
We got Apple.
Yeah.
Bill Gates was weird. We got Microsoft.
Yeah.
George Lucas was weird. We got Star Wars.
We got Jaws.
We got Jaws.
No, that's not Jaws. That's not George Lucas. I'm gonna get fired for that.
Was
James? That's Steven Spielberg.
Yes,
it's Jaws. Yeah. He's weird too.
James Cameron. We got aliens. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's those different aspects, man. Define normal. You know what I'm saying? What is normal?
That's what it is. I think it's define normal, and you can't, because it's just what is that, right? It's somebody else's standard, and so playing to your own is what I'm after.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the art. I mean, the other art, because we sang, although that gave me chills. We may sing ourselves out, but if we could close it out. I don't want to miss the opportunity to talk about your art, because you guys you're gonna be able. So in the attached to the podcast and all this stuff, you'll get all information about Caanan and you'll be able to all the links so you can find him and all these things. But my gosh, so like check out the Standing in the Rain podcast, like that crest that's on my jacket there. He created that. This guy created that. You haven't been introduced to her yet, but the Rainmaker's coming. Yeah. The Rainmaker's coming. Yeah. He designed her. He created that character, that comic book character. He just so many things. I mean, what is it? Harlem Hellfighters.
Yep.
I couldn't pronounce the other. Was it Son of Shaolin?
Son of Shaolin. Yep. Uber.
Yeah. He's the illustrator for these books. I mean, Harlem Hellfighters was a New York Times #1 bestseller. Yep. Yeah. I mean, you're the illustrator. I mean, just people don't know right here. Shout out to 260. Fort Wayne is popping. Come on. So, but just congratulations to you.
Thank you.
But so when you create, is it the same mindset you just described for me with regard to worship? Because you don't seem to care there either. You just in a really awesome way.
It's you as an illustrator, you have a powerful tool, because it's your job to take people. And I remember I think it was Reading Rainbow. Dating me back in the day, LeVar Burton, but he said the power of a book, it can take you anywhere, places you've never been before. And as an illustrator, that's your job as well. Somebody's never been to China, you can take them there. Somebody's never been to Egypt, you can take them there. And so whenever I create something, man, that's my mindset, man. I want to be able to take somebody, like when you mentioned Harlem Hellfighters. I wasn't born in the 1920s. Yeah. But I want people to be able to read that book and be transported to that time period. Where you meet E.W. Du Bois and you meet Booker T. Washington and all these individuals that showed up in there. Yeah. And at the same time, you see the horror of war. Shout out to Max Brooks, the writer of Harlem Hellfighters, Jewish kid from New York, man, that decided to take on a project that no other studio would touch.
He's Mel Brooks' son, right? Yeah. The incomparable Mel Brooks. So I mean, it's awesome that you were sought out and connected to this project.
Yeah, he was very adamant. They were very particular about having a person of color illustrate this story.
I mean, just so people understand, because you should get the book. You should get the book and see it. The illustrations are magnificent and brilliant. The book is wonderful and just blows me away the fact that I get to know you, that you did that. But just a brief snippet of just what it's about, so people understand what the
Harlem Hellfighters is about. I believe it's the 369th Regiment that fought for France, and because the reason why they fought for France is because France was losing so many soldiers. It's like, we'll take anybody. And it was, Max Brooks always says, mindset of kind of reverse racism. Man, they can fight, they can do sports, maybe they can fight well too. So we'll take them. So on the flip side, the black soldiers would enlist, but because they were people of color, they weren't allowed to fight. So they would give them broomsticks instead of rifles. They would give them Girl Scout rifles instead of rifles. They wouldn't give them uniforms. And so finally, one of the sergeants or generals of their division pulled some strings and got them transported, or got them the opportunity to fight. And so one of their bases was in North Carolina. Okay. And they were purposely put there because it was racially charged. So what happened is that this town that they were in word got around that they were coming to lynch everybody on base. So these soldiers basically decided to be proactive and went into the town and, fought against the stuff. And so as a result, I think 19 police officers were killed, but over 60 soldiers were hung.
Wow.
So everybody could see.
Wow.
And that, as a result, stopped the black soldiers from being able to fight. So fast forward to them finally getting in contact with people from France. It's like, we'll take anybody. So they ended up going over there. Long story short, one of the guys by the name of Henry Johnson fought off, I think, 20 or 30 German soldiers with a bolo knife protecting a friend. And you can actually look at the article online. It actually has a drawing of him standing on a pile of people. But he was the first soldier, black or otherwise, to receive France's version of the Purple Heart.
Okay.
And nobody had received that until him. And furthermore, the soldiers fought so well that they proved that they could fight. They in their little section, they pushed back the German army because back then they used to do trench warfare. Okay. So they would take over a trench and then go to another one and go to another one. Okay. And so as the Germans were advancing, they ran head up against the 369th man and got pushed back all the way back across that particular border. And it got the attention of the American people. And when the Harlem Hellfighters initially left, they left sneers and people calling them derogatory terms. Yeah. But when they came back, they gave them full ticker tape parade, and they got to march down Manhattan as like any other soldier.
I love that you were a part of that story.
Oh man, it was an education.
I love that you got to do that. You please go. I mean, like I said, all the information with regard to the works that Caanan's works will be connected to this episode. So please check it out and hit Caanan up and you should experience this. I mean, just congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Again, that's hot. I mean, so what's the dream for you? I mean, you're a professional comic illustrator. I mean, what's the dream for you? You're always creating, you're going somewhere. What's the dream for you? What are you trying to shape? What's going on?
It's funny because it's kind of come full circle. Initially, of course, any comic artist, man, you want to to do the DC thing and Marvel and then I kind of got to see a little bit behind the scenes of how things kind of operate. I was just like, And so then I started just kind of focusing on the indie, a lot of indie creators and stuff like that. But this year, probably a latter part of the last year going into this year, I would like to take a shot at doing something like DC or Marvel.
Yes.
Give me Superman or something like that. Just to, to for one, for my own personal, to let myself know that I can do that. And then two, bring something that nobody's seen before to the character. Some of the passion and desires that I had when I was little. There's a company that's like a subsidiary of DC. It's called Milestone. Okay. And shout out to Milestone and Milestone, what they're doing. They are basically a black superhero universe. And they have their versions of Superman and the Batman, but they're people of color, and they lead the way. They're not side characters. They're like the man. So that would be like the dream job. Beyond that, honestly, doing like my, I guess you want to say, end game. I want to work with everybody.
What do you mean by that?
Like, you see something like my name is attached to it. It's like to the point you may not even see or know who I am, but it's like, man, his name is on everything. Just being like I think that's, to me, some people are like, I want the big office and of course, you want to be successful, but I believe in the process of like connecting with so many people to help their dream be established. I think in many ways that's kind of my calling as an artist. I'm the guy that you take it to. Like, give me a visual, give some visuals to this idea I have. And then on to the next one. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
like that. Like that.
Yeah.
I never like settle in to like, hey, this is done. Like, that's awesome, but I'm on to the next thing, and then I get that one done. Okay, and then I'm on to the next thing. So it's like that to me is like being able to see somebody's idea and concept, and I think I'll say probably the next thing, man, will be something of my own.
You've talked about that for a long time.
Yeah,
Creating your own. I mean,
like
yeah.
own, but I need to get to a spot so I can do that. You know what I mean? Like I want to get to a spot, monetarily and all that stuff, to where I can do that because I want to, not because I have to.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of being an illustrator and comic. It's work. It's a lot of these kind of ups and downs, kind of roller coaster things, but I've got, and one of the reasons why I stuck with it, even through the hard times and the struggles and those things.
That's what I was going to ask you. So is it worth it?
It is, because for one, it's inspired my kids. I mean, they're all creative. They all draw. They want to do something in the form of, creativity and art and things like that. And then two, I got too many examples of people who've taken their passion and they've made it into something.
Yeah.
You're one of them. Floyd. Multiple other people's like, so it's possible.
Yeah.
And then that's what drives me, man. Like, no, like you're just one thing or one idea, one it's like away. So that's the what they say, like a boxer, it keeps you hungry.
That's what kept you. So when it got hard, when it gets hard, that's what keeps you going.
Yep.
Plus. I mean, what would you do?
Yeah.
I don't mean that. I don't mean that. I don't mean that like you're not capable of doing anything else. But I'm saying that's who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's not what you do. It literally is who you are. You are art. You are your creativity.
Yeah. Yep.
To take that away from you would be, it'd be the same thing for me. I mean, I have gotten in places at times where pursuing my thoughts and dreams with regard to rain are really, really hard.
Yeah.
They're just like, what am I doing? You're creating something out of nothing.
Yep.
Right? You're going to grab this and whatever, and there's somebody going to watch this. Anybody out there, I'm talking to y'all, just, you're going to like it. All these things, you get tired. But then if I get to a place where I'm like, I did, at times I'll say things like, I'm tired, I'm going to quit.
Yep.
And my husband just laughs at me because he's like, yeah, well, you'll get over it because you can't.
I was about to say,
you are.
I've tried.
Yeah.
To like,
you're terrible at quitting. Yeah.
And every time, like, to anybody who's got a desire or a dream, and when it gets hard, I've had to live at somebody else's house with my family in a room, all of us.
Wow.
For a passion. Shout out to James Hall, man. That's my brother, man. He was, he's since passed on, but he, talking about giving and opening your life to somebody who but you don't know, like to their entire family. So, but when it gets hard, and when it seems like you want to quit, or you want to like, throw in the towel, man. Focus on. I actually had to talk with another fellow artist. Look at the people that are being affected.
Yeah, that's right. That part right there.
That is your measure to let you know you're on the right track.
Yeah. People
are being like, like, I don't understand. Like, no, it's not working. But look at the people that are like, you inspire me. You're this. Oh my God, man. Like, I was gonna quit until I saw somebody told me today, man. I posted a picture and they was like, I was feeling like kind of like in the rut, man. And he said, I saw you post your picture, and he was like, I was like, Jesus, take the wheel. And so it just sparked their creativity.
I love it. Well, you better not ever stop.
No, I'm not.
You better not ever stop. That's not an option.
Yeah.
And I just want tickets. I want tickets to Comic-Con. You're gonna and you think quite frankly, the Rainmaker is coming.
Yeah.
The Rainmaker is coming. I just don't, y'all gonna be like, man, who, little girls, little kids gonna be
Ain't
wearing
gonna be no little cheesy thing.
No,
It's
no,
gonna
because
be
she's a
legit
bad
hero.
chick. You
It's
say
gonna be
you,
legit
yeah,
hero.
yeah. And she's flawed and she's dark and but you know, just uber powerful and unable at times
She's
to
gonna be
control
able to
it.
hang with anything you see on the comic
Yes. Y'all don't even understand what we are brewing with the Rain. Oh my God. I put a picture of her up, but nope. I'm not doing it. Not yet. But it's awesome. And I'm so excited. And that's why I came to you, because I knew that you understood what I was trying to do. I mean, I wanted to talk to you so much and wanted you on my podcast, so I can't thank you enough. We're about to wrap up. I can't thank you enough because you just have meant so much to me in the relative to the deep spaces of my life.
Thank you.
Worship.
Likewise. Yeah.
Creativity.
Yeah.
You know, you have been, so I'm one of those people, so you know, in case you're wondering, that is vibing off of you continuing to show up. And what you create inspires me. And when you created the Rainmaker for me, I mean, everything I described of her and you created, I'm like, oh, she's about to be that deal, right? She gonna be that deal. So it's gonna be, so y'all gotta stay tuned. So tell me this. So how do people vibe with you, get art from you, work with you? How do they do that? Tell them.
Primarily through Instagram. Like
Okay.
My Instagram it's Caanan02, Caanan 002. And you can DM me, you can chat whatever through that. That's kind of my primary. I got Twitter and you can hit me through that too, but predominantly you'll get me on Instagram. You can see all my artwork on there. Anything new will be there.
And so what do you do for people? I mean, what run the gamut? I mean, what kind of things do you do for people? I mean, you did my crest certainly, but what kind of things you do?
Character design.
Okay.
Storytelling, predominantly character design, cover art, pinups, promotional stuff. Like I do a lot of Kickstarter campaign art for people. If they have like a story or a concept they want, I'll do a cover or promo for them. In Indiegogo, which is another crowdfunding. Like I said, character concepts, ideas. Sometimes because doing actual pages, stories and pages, that takes a lot more time. But if the opportunity is right, I do books as well, interior work and stuff. So
Okay. Well, I want to make sure that on Standing in the Rain, we want to make sure we make room. Rain makes room, and so first and foremost, just pick a number.
10.
Good number. All right. So the first 10 people that hit me up, when you subscribe to the podcast and hit me up and like this episode, give me the thumbs, like this episode and subscribe. The first 10 people to do that, I'm going to make sure that you get a copy of Harlem Hellfighters in your hands. Would you sign it for them?
Yes, I will.
Awesome. So we'll get it signed for them. I want to make sure and just vibe with Caanan. I promise you. We can't even scratch the surface. I mean, you'll be able. The links will be there, so you'll be able to experience his art. But I hope through all of this, and I hope that what you glean more than anything, and what I really, really want you to experience, is not his art as much as I really, really need you to experience his heart. This dude right here is transformative. This chick right here is not sitting here like this, but for encountering this dude right here. So, hey, thank
welcome.
you. I know. I know that means nothing. I know what it means. I love it. So I just want to thank y'all. So thank you.
You're welcome.
This is a wrap for Standing in the Rain with Caanan White.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I love it. Let's go. We got to dance it out.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
You were created to reign. What does that mean? You are royalty. You were created to win.
Wah, 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 wah.
To wear a crown.